Awareness. As we have already discussed, we need to develop the mind if we really want to practice the Dharma. This means developing the clarity and insight to see things as they really are. We have talked at some length about the need for a daily meditation practice to help us develop clarity and insight. The great benefit of maintaining a daily sitting practice is that it helps stabilize the mind and gives us the space to let go, fall silent, and gradually begin to understand what is going on inside. But there are limits to the amount of time most of us can spend in formal meditation. Fortunately, meditation is only one of a number of tools available to us. In addition, we need to learn to practice awareness during the greater part of the day when we are off the mat, that is, in the course of our everyday lives. The present talk will focus on techniques to help us maintain awareness throughout the day. First, we need to become more conscious. Usually, we give only half of our attention to the things we do. We often think we are doing things wholeheartedly, when in fact, we are probably thinking about 100 different things at the same time. We are not usually conscious of this. We are a bit like the person who thinks he is walking his dog, but ends up following the dog wherever it leads him. He is so busy trying to keep up that he does not notice whether or not the dog is going in a straight line. One of the first things to realize is that our minds are totally untamed. The Buddha compared an ordinary mind with a wild elephant in rut. Not one of those nice tame elephants we see in the zoo or in the circus, but a wild elephant. Sometimes he went so far as to say a drunken wild elephant. These days, we hear news reports about even the most important statesmen behaving in completely uncontrolled ways, causing terrible problems for an entire nation, not to mention the harm they cause to their families and themselves. It is frightening to think that despite having so much at stake, many people in public office are apparently unable to control their behavior. When people cannot control their behavior, it is because they cannot control their minds. We all have this problem to some extent. How often do we do things impulsively, without giving a thought to the consequences? We want to do it, so we just jump right in. We don't know how to control ourselves either. Our minds are obscured by anger, desire, jealousy, and confusion. We can't see the wider implications, and consequently, we often feel no sense of responsibility for what we do. How can we begin to take responsibility for our actions? A good way to start is by learning to understand our mental states. One of the easiest ways to train in this is to take some simple everyday action such as combing our hair, brushing our teeth, shaving, or drinking our morning coffee, and bring our attention fully to what we are doing. Just be with the action. Know that we are doing it. That's all. We will see how long the mind can remain in a state of wordless knowing before we rush in with all our commentaries, justifications, and interpretations. Oh goodness, this is really stupid. What am I doing cleaning my teeth and having to think about it? Or, wow, now my life is going to be really good. It's easy to be mindful about cleaning your teeth. When we rush in with this mental chatter, we are no longer being mindful. We are just thinking about being mindful. Mindfulness is not thinking about, it is being present and actually knowing in the moment without any mental commentary. If commentary begins to happen, we simply ignore it and return to being present in the moment. Think about this. There are so many things happening in our lives that we never really experience. We experience only our ideas, interpretations, and comparisons. We dwell on things that happened in the past or anticipate future events. But we almost never experience the moment itself. It is for this reason that we often find our lives boring and meaningless. What we need to realize is that this sense of meaninglessness does not come from our lives, but from the quality of awareness with which we live our lives. There is a Vietnamese Zen master named Thich Nhat Hanh who writes about the benefits of washing dishes to wash dishes. This is a very important point because normally we wash dishes in order to have clean dishes. Whenever we do anything, we do it to get a result. We write a letter in order to produce a letter which we can then send. We are washing dishes not to wash dishes, but so we can have clean dishes and go on to the next task. As we wash the dishes, we are thinking about what we will do next, how we will have a cup of coffee, what somebody said to us this morning, what TV program we watched last night, what our kid is doing, or what our husband said to us before he went to work. The last thing on our minds is the dishes. Then when we come to drink the coffee, we are thinking that after that we have to go shopping and what are we going to buy and things like this. We are drinking the coffee now, but we are not really drinking it because our mind has gone forward onto something else again. Our entire lives pass in this way. Even when we are doing something nice, like eating a delicious meal, we are thinking about dessert. We never even enjoy the good things. We experience the taste for a few seconds, and then we are off again. Thich Nhat Hanh asks, why not wash dishes just to wash dishes? We get clean dishes anyway. But it means that while we are washing the dishes, we are completely with it. There is no action in the world more important at that moment than washing the dishes, because that is what we are doing. Everything else is just our thoughts. But the thing happening in the moment is the actual reality, and therefore the most important thing. If we miss it now, we miss it forever, because we can never get that now time back once it has passed. So let's try to wash the dishes and just know we are washing dishes. It's not a big deal. We are conscious that we are standing at the sink. Now the hand is picking up a dish. We can feel the water. We can feel the soap suds. We are conscious of what we are washing. We are completely attentive to what is happening in that moment. In this way, we become centered in the moment. And that moment is all we ever really have. Our whole life is made up of moment after moment after moment. If we miss these moments through thinking about something else, they are gone forever. If we bring our consciousness to the task at hand, whatever it is, the mind itself is washed clean. There is no stress attached to doing this. The mind actually finds it quite a pleasant experience. The Zen tradition places a lot of emphasis on being present in the moment. They teach that every action performed with awareness is a profound activity, but even the most seemingly exalted activity is meaningless if we do it mindlessly. We might be an abbot sitting up on the teaching throne, but if we are teaching without being conscious, it is a meaningless activity. Or we could be outside the temple, sweeping the leaves, scrubbing the floor, or chopping vegetables. provided we do it with consciousness and presence, even the most mundane activity becomes a profound meditation. Some people think, I'm pretty conscious, I know what I'm doing. Try taking a simple action like drinking, combing your hair, brushing your teeth, or shaving. Any action which we normally do quite automatically, while thinking of other things. Instead of thinking of other things, bring all your attention to that task. While you are combing your hair, just comb the hair. Know what is happening. Know what the body is doing. Know what the mind is doing. Be with it. This is not as easy as it sounds. Almost invariably, we start not just thinking about other things and bringing in other comments, but also thinking, oh, this is easy. I'm very mindful. As soon as we think, I'm being mindful, we are no longer mindful. We are just thinking about being mindful. True awareness is non-verbal. Bringing presence into our tasks as often as possible will help us to transform our day on a very deep level. It's easy. The main problem is that the mind is so deep in its inertia, so deep in its desire to stay asleep, that we keep forgetting to be mindful. Actually, the meaning of the word mindfulness in both Sanskrit and Tibetan is to remember. It is akin to the Christian idea of recollection and to Gurdjieff's concept of self-remembrance. It is about remembering where we are and who we are and what's happening in the moment. Because mindfulness is akin to recollection, its direct enemy is forgetfulness. I often tell people about this quality of mindfulness, and they say, yes, that sounds good, I'll try it. The next day, they really try hard to be more conscious at work and with their families. This immediately adds a special new dimension to their lives. People begin to notice and say, wow, you are so much nicer. What happened? They come back and tell me how great this mindfulness is and what a marvelous effect it's having on every aspect of their lives. I say, okay, tell me about it in a few months' time. Then about 6 months later, I meet them again and ask how the mindfulness is going. They usually reply, oh, I forgot all about it. This is the main problem. We are so used to being asleep that the effort to wake up is very hard for us. Otherwise, there is no problem. It doesn't require any time or any particular talent. It doesn't require us to be great geniuses or yogis or to do years and years of advanced training. The minute I say to you to just be present, just know the body in this moment. You can know it. The mind steps back and suddenly you know what the body is doing, right? It's very easy. The main challenge is to remember. If you are learning how to play a musical instrument, for example, you don't begin to learn by playing Beethoven's sonatas. In the beginning, you do very simple exercises, like scales. But you keep practicing until eventually the technique takes over. If you keep going, you come to a point where you are not even conscious of the technique anymore. The music just flows through your fingers to the instrument. It's the same with the mind. Our minds are full of bad habits, and we need to reprogram them by developing good ones. In the beginning, it is very difficult and there is a lot of resistance. But if we are patient and persevere, the awareness will grow stronger and stronger. Gradually, the mind begins to understand what it means to be aware. Then the moments of awareness begin to prolong themselves. Then, one day, when we are not even thinking about it, in the midst of total confusion, we suddenly become totally present. We see everything clearly, yet inwardly our minds are silent. Then the commentaries and the judgments come flooding in again, and we've lost it. But as time goes on, there are more and more of these moments of clarity and inner silence, when we really see things and everything becomes very vivid. It really is a process of waking up. Normally, because we are sleeping, we have lots of dreams. Some are pleasant, some are nightmares. It is all very fascinating and entertaining. But when we wake up, we see that that was actually a lower level of consciousness, however fascinating it might have seemed and however much we may have believed in it. Now we know we are awake and that this other consciousness was only a dream. Nobody else can wake us up. We have to do it for ourselves. But if we decide we prefer to be asleep, so be it. Sometimes people ask me about the difference between awareness and concentration. Awareness is not the same as concentration. To use an example, suppose you are reading a fascinating book and you are completely absorbed in it. You don't see anything else, you don't hear anything else. This is concentration. But to know that you are absorbed in the book is awareness. Do you understand the difference? Being aware does not mean thinking about being aware. As long as we are thinking about being aware, we are not really aware, but just thinking about being aware. At first, we will only be able to be aware for a few seconds at the most. Then our conceptual mind starts bringing in all sorts of thoughts, ideas, comparisons, and commentaries, and we drop out again. When this happens, it is important not to be discouraged. With practice and perseverance, we will inevitably improve. We must learn to be patient, not only with others, but with ourselves.